Hi, I'm Spoiler Alert. And this is a movie 28 years later. A little boy with a sick mother goes on a dangerous journey through a country inhabited by people infected with the rage virus to find a doctor who can help them. The film begins in the Scottish Highlands. Young children watch Teletubbies on TV while adults make noise and shout in the next room. When the frantic parents burst into the room and bite the children, only the boy Jimmy manages to escape. The mother, before she gets infected with the rage virus, tells him to run. Jimmy runs to the church where his father works as a priest, but his father sees a sign from God in the ongoing zombie apocalypse. He gives his son a pectoral cross and hides it in the church basement before the infected break into the building. They bite the priest, infect him, after which the whole crowd moves on. Jimmy is left alone in this big dangerous world. The rage virus epidemic has spread across the UK. The British Isles have been quarantined from mainland Europe. The country is populated by infected people have gathered in communes, so the walking corpses are forced to feed on inhuman things and earthworms, entrails of squirrels and deer, distant bark. The few healthy and surviving people live on the island of Lindisfarne, remote from the mainland by a narrow spit which can only be walked on during low tide. A boy named Spike lives here. His mother Ayla is sick. She has outbursts of anger and memory lapses. But since there is no doctor on the island, no one can help. Spike himself, together with his father Jamie, is preparing for his first trip to the mainland, a kind of initiation rite, entering adulthood. Grab everything you need and leaving old man Sam to look after Ayla. Father and son go to the exit in front of the gate. The elder of the community reminds them that no one will go looking for them if they do not return. These are the local safety rules. When they come to the Wasp, they find themselves in the vastness of the mainland which Spike has never seen before. Behind the scenes is heard the poem by Rudyard Kipling Boots, which in 1915 was voiced by the actor Taylor Holmes. It symbolizes the senselessness and futility of war with a rhythmic syllable that imitates the rumble of footsteps from endless marches. Making his way through the woods, Jamie notices an infected fat man crawling on his belly. To pass the initiation, Spike must kill him. His father explains where to shoot with a bow to do this, while the boy aims at them from behind. Another fat man approaches, this time a woman. Spike kills the male. The father spares the female and the cub, only the youngest girl from the infected family. The couple moves further through the deserted landscapes. Soon they notice a herd of deer that behaves like real deer, rushing the field in the center. After they come across a lonely house which they search for useful things, having heard suspicious sounds, they find a raven pecking a hanging man with letters carved on his body. Someone has demonstratively punished him by leaving him to be infected with the Jamie virus. The father tells his son that there are also survivors on the mainland, but their moral and ethical guidelines are different from those that they don't have at all. Then he tells Spike to kill the hanged man to complete the initiation, but the boy hesitates until the infected break the torture, after which he releases the arrow. Continuing on their way, they come across a severed deer head hanging from a tree. The infected have marked their territory. Realizing it is dangerous to stay here, Jamie leads his son away. They notice a group of infected ahead that rushes after them in pursuit. The people retreat back, shooting back with bows and squandering their arrow supplies. Returning home, the survivors climb through a hatch into the attic, where they hide and wait until the infected lose interest and leave. Watching the alpha watching them while waiting, Jamie explains to his son that the rage virus sometimes affects people differently, acts like an Olympic motto on alpha, make them faster, higher, stronger and more resilient. You can't kill someone like that with one arrow. When it got dark, they notice lights in the Sea Patrol boat. Note providing quarantine. Spike sees smoke from a fire on the other side. Father says he has no idea who lives there. Closer to the morning, a herd of deer rushes past the house like brisk weasels. The vibration created by the hoofed gate shook the house and the chimney began to collapse. Jamie and Spike quickly leave the shelter and run in the direction of their home island. Having reached the coast, they see that the tide has already begun, but the water has not yet completely gone away. Taking off their shoes, they wade. The people reached the arch halfway when a flock of crows started chasing them, and what's worse, an alpha-infected mutant runs like crazy. Closing the distance, the survivors run to the wall of the settlement, whistling an alarm. The sentries on the wall notice them and shoot arrows. They cause inconvenience but do not stop the alpha. He almost catches up with the fugitives when a spear from a ballista is fired from the wall, which calms the mutated infected. The settlement throws a party to celebrate Spike's successful initiation. Jamie tells what a great son the boy is after the event spots him making out in a dark corner with another woman. Returning home in a state of confusion, he discusses his mother's condition with Sam. The old man says that the fire on the mainland was lit by Dr. Kelson, the only doctor known in the settlement. The problem is that he is supposedly crazy. In the morning, Spike asks Dad why he didn't say anything about Dr. Kelson. Maybe he can help Mom. Jamie admits that in his youth he met him during one of his forays. He was laying out dozens of corpses in the clearing of the Scorched. Thinking him crazy, he and his friends decided that it is strictly not recommended to approach him. Spike accuses his father of waiting for Ayla to die so he can leave for another woman. In a fit of rage, the man gives him a slap on the wrist despite the fact that he later apologized as best he could. The boy already has a plan. He sets fire to the barn to distract the guards at the gate, after which he and his sick mother go to the doctor on the mainland. Ayla is frightened by the deserted landscapes. She calls her husband, but her son insists that they need to go further to the doctor. They walk all day, stopping at a chapel for the night. Spike volunteers to be on duty but falls asleep on duty. A fat infected crawls towards him. But at the last moment, Aylin rips the bag off the mutant's head and smashes his skull against a rock, although in the morning she doesn't remember how she did it at all. The story switches to soldiers from a Marine quarantine patrol. Due to circumstances, they landed on the shore in a boat. When the Marines began to be pursued by the infected, the number of the landing force is inexorably decreasing, even having to finish off their own after infection. Fleeing, the soldiers find themselves in the eastern tunnel, locking the grate from the inside. But here they are met by a huge alpha who can easily rip out a bad head along with the spine. As a result, only one survivor remains from the soldiers, who wisely saves himself. With the text having shot the infected behind bars, Spike and Ayla make their way through a field overgrown with grass and yellow flowers. Noticing an ornate metal statue ahead, the woman tells how she first saw it only because of her consciousness clouded by illness. She takes her son for her husband. A skinny infected man who looks like Cillian Murphy sneaks up on them. Spike kills him with a well-aimed shot. The infected man's blood gets on Ayla's face. The boy has to carefully wipe it off so that it doesn't get into his eyes, nose, or mouth. One drop is enough for infection. Noticing the infected carcass running after their souls, the couple rushes at the ducks. The escape leads them to an old gas station inside which gasoline fumes are swirling. Having climbed inside, the people fight off the infected. Suddenly a hatch opens on the roof and the soldier Velif lies down on the floor and opens fire on the mutants. Shooting causes the vapors to ignite. Destroys the infected, but the will of the scenario magic spares the melted Spike and Ayla. Having got outside, they meet a Swedish soldier named Eric, who is forced to join their expedition because he is even less familiar with the local realities than the boy, and Eric, who has gone crazy with the woman, drags the exhausted Ayla on himself, telling her that he served in a quarantine patrol, but now that he has set foot on contaminated land, he cannot return back. The outside world cuts off all contact for safety. At the halt, Eric shows Spike a photo of his girlfriend. Looking at her lips, the boy immediately diagnoses an allergy to seafood. He has seen this before. After the battery runs out, the soldier throws away the useless phone. When they continue their journey, Ayla suddenly hears a groan and follows the sound. She gets to a railroad with an abandoned train, scaring away a herd of rats along the way. In the carriage, the woman finds a pregnant infected woman whose plaintive look does not allow her to pass by. Out of female solidarity, Ayla helps the mutant by delivering the baby. After that, the newly made mother, remembering that she is actually infected, rushes at Ayla. Eric calms the zombie with a couple of shots. Then he wants to shoot the baby. Ayla tries to convince him that the child is healthy, but only Alpha managed to calm the warrior down by grabbing him by the head. People retreat through the carriages. Alpha, noticing the dead beloved, rushes after them in pursuit with the fury of a controller pursuing fair dodges and not letting go of Erica's head from his hands. Suddenly, a man covered in iodine appears and calms the Alpha down with a well-aimed shot from a blowgun. The arrow is filled with morphine. The man turns out to be Dr. Kelson. Having taken the soldier's head from the frozen Alpha, he leads his new acquaintances to his camp, which looks quite extravagant, pillars of human bones. The doctor built them in memory of all the dead whose bodies he burned in the middle of this forest of the dead rests a tower of skulls. The pedantic doctor used different bones for different purposes. He took the soldier's head to add to his macabre memorial collection. After boiling it over the fire, he carefully washes away the remains of flesh and skin from the skull until he gets a perfect bone. Kelson allows Spike to choose a place to put the skull. After examining the baby and not finding any signs of illness, the doctor reminds him that he needs food, in particular milk, and that he will have to be taken to the settlement. Then he examines Ayla, conducting tests for short-term memory and fine motor skills. The doctor's diagnosis is not encouraging. Cancer has metastasized to the brain. Ayla admits that she guessed about it, but was afraid to tell anyone, realizing that she doesn't have much time left to live and every day will be accompanied by pain. She says goodbye to her son. Then the woman goes into the forest with Kelson so that he can inject Tenasium with a shock dose of morphine. After the body is cremated on the pyre, Ayla's skull, like the others that fell into Kelson's hands, goes through the same procedures. Then the doctor gives it to Spick so that he can place the bone wherever he deems necessary. The boy climbs to the very top of the bone tower to unload his mother's skull facing east. During the day, the awakened Alpha visits the camp and forces the doctor and the boy to hide in an underground shelter. But the infected, having broken through the roof, grabs Kelson and tries to pull him out. Spike puts the Alpha to sleep with a syringe of morphine. After this, the boy and the child return to their native settlement on the island. He leaves the girl at the gate with a letter for her father in it. He says that he named the baby Ailey in honor of his mother and asks not to look for him. Spike goes to the mainland to find himself. He will return when he deems it necessary. 28 days later, Spike is frying a fish he caught when he is spotted by the infected. After shooting one, the boy starts running but stumbles upon a stone embankment blocking the road. On top of the embankment sits a young man in a tracksuit. He praises Spike for his accurate shooting and offers to help deal with the steel crowd of infected. The stranger is joined by friends, all in stylish tracksuits, as if they came out of the glamorous midishki of the 90s. The Naskla Brigade unwinds the infected, demonstrating that over the past years at least someone has had the intelligence to develop an effective method of fighting zombies. Then the guy meets Spike and it turns out that it is Survivor. Boy Jimmy from the prologue. This is where the movie ends.